Overnight stocker for any store job, if it was available, was always the best job for me because I'm a night owl. Whatever I did it at night so that I could be at home in the daytime to receive packages or anything for that matter. I had been working at Walmart for the last 3 years, and the same thing happened every day. Show up and stock for 8 hours with a break, and that was it. Pretty basic stuff, and I was fine with that. There was one day when I noticed someone was stocking certain things wrong, and when I told my manager, he got right on it, and he told me it was me. I told him, like, come on dude, it's not me. So it got so bad over the past month that they had to check cameras, and sure enough, it wasn't me or anyone. Someone joked about a ghost, and right away I laughed. Whoever heard of a ghost messing with your stocking route? One night we were short-staffed, so I was told I needed to do twice the work as normal, and I was okay with that because I was getting paid someone else's salary for that shift. So it's me and another co-worker in the next aisle, and then there's an empty aisle where we are. All of a sudden I hear a crash and then liquid running out. I asked my co-worker if that was him, and he said no. So he and I both go and look, and it's a can of green beans, and it must have fallen, and the liquid came out and is going everywhere. So we call the guy who cleans overnight, and he gets it up. It bothered me a bit because I felt like I was being too rough while working. Some time passes, and again another can falls except in my aisle when I have my back turned. My co-worker says that I am doing it on purpose, and I tell him, dude, like, no, I just am doing my job. The same thing happens. It gets cleaned up. I go to walk back to tell the main guy, who said there was security at the time, and as I walk, tons and tons of cans that were in boxes being moved to my section tip over and burst everywhere as if someone with godlike strength did it. The amount of time it took to clean that upset everyone back that day, and I somehow got blamed for it. That was only the start of it. Someone said that they got pushed, and when they turned around, they saw me running and laughing. Luckily, I was talking to my coworker about what happened, or I would have gotten fired. It's close to my shift end, and I am so happy that I can leave and sleep off this disaster of a day and come back tomorrow. I finished the last of my stuff, and I walk up to the front and feel dizzy, and I pass out. They said when I passed out that my nose was running, but it was red. That had to be one of the weirdest days ever for me. A month later, my boss let me go because of staff cuts, and if it wasn't for that day, I would be mad.
Story 2.
I remember back before COVID shortened the hours of Walmart. It was open all night and morning long. There was nothing like being able to go at 4 or 5 or 2 in the morning and just get whatever you want. One day, I and my friend watched these YouTubers who at the time were doing all these challenges where they stayed overnight at stores. Even when they closed, they would stay overnight and sleep there. I and my friend were young and reckless, so we decided to do it. We did it how they did it in the videos. They got supplies at Walmart, and they would build a fort out of toilet paper, and they would stay there. I remember as a teenager that I was beyond hyped and felt like I was breaking the rules and being cool. I really wish, though, that I had told someone because this night was going to give me a lot of trauma. We followed the so-called rules, and as it got later, we decided no walking around past 1 in the morning. After that, we were going to lie down. What really sucked, though, is I snored, so I couldn't sleep until he left. So we brought our phones and laptops and attempted the challenge. The only thing that could go wrong is a worker would catch us. Only 3 workers stayed overnight, though, so what could go wrong? Now, I want to say 3 hours passed, and we made incredible progress, and we're both in a good mood. As we were talking, my friend started to cough, though. I asked him, like, are you good? And he said yes. He told me he had been running around with his parents in the cold the previous day, so he most likely got sick. I told him, just a few more hours, bro, and we are out. It must have been a few minutes after I said that, and we ran into our second problem, which was a worker kept going up and down the aisle we were on and would be on Snapchat. If he accidentally saw us through his selfie camera, we were pretty much done. My friend told me we needed to move somewhere else, and I agreed, so we got out and went to the restroom. While we were in there, I noticed something creepy. There was a bag in my restroom that had a change of clothes. I got out, and I and my friend both went to a new spot not far from the old one and set up. Everything seemed to be normal till we both were half asleep and heard yelling. It was the co-worker screaming that someone went through his clothes in the restroom and took his money out. He got the other people he worked with to empty their pockets, and they didn't take it, nor was it in their wallets. With a built-up amount of anger, He punched all the toilet paper off the shelf where we were at. If we didn't move, both of us would have gotten caught. My friend tells me, screw the challenge. We have to leave. I told him fine, and we made a plan to keep hiding in spots till we got close to the door, and then we would leave. We could easily walk out, but they knew who we were, and we didn't want to cause suspicion. As we got close to the front, we heard one of the workers say, "Lock the door," and both of our mouths dropped. We froze, and we're glad we hid in a little corner where no one could see us. I heard the man who locked the door say, "Are you serious?" Cops being called for some change that could be replaced with a $20 bill. I remember my friend saying he was shitting himself because he couldn't go to jail. I told him to relax. As soon as the cops leave, we will go. The cops get there and question whose car is out there. And it's my friends, of course, that they're talking about. They went to the back to check the footage. And that's when I and my friend went out. And from behind us, we heard, "Hey, come back here." And we didn't even look back. We just left and drove off. No one follows us, thankfully. And we never returned to that Walmart again.
Story 3.
I shopped at the closest Walmart when I didn't have enough gas to go to the other, nicer one. I hated it, though. The closest one was so run down and so beat up. They could have at least painted or removed the pay phone that was still there. I don't think any Walmart in 2022 had a pay phone. Anyways, one day I realized I needed some eggs for a cake I was going to make for my family. I get there, and I'm shopping, and nothing out of the ordinary is happening. This is pretty late at night for me, at least. Midnight is the time no one should be out. Things went well until I noticed a woman several times. Not once did I see her look at me, though. I said while I'm there I might as well pick up some more things, so I get them. As I go down aisle 19, it's something like right out of a horror movie. I hear a scream. I go to one of the workers, and I say, "Did you hear that?" He says no. "Hear what?" I said it sounded like a male screaming. He said, "Really? Well, let me tell security, and I'll make sure he checks it out." I waited for at least 10 minutes, and the man never came back to update me. Later on, I see him, and I try and ask him, and he says he's sorry, but he can't help me. He's busy. So I go to a manager and I tell them, and they pull me to the side and say, "It's late, and we're not trying to do more work than is needed. Please do not ask the co-workers anything else unless it pertains to food or questions about items." I tell myself I need to get milk and leave. So I go to the back where the milk is, and it's like I tripped a wire and the power goes off in the back of the store. I say, "Screw it, I'm checking out," and I run to the front, and the manager stops me and says, "Sir, please do not come any closer. I need you to stay where you are. We are dealing with an extremely dangerous situation, and we need you to exit through the fire escape." I try running out of it, and the door is jammed. It seems like I'm trapped in a horror movie. I hear more screaming, and now I hear gunshots. Afraid for my life, I go and hide in the baby aisle behind stroller boxes. As I was there, I could hear what sounded like a zombie moaning and dragging his foot down the aisle and breathing heavily. Pitch black, and I'm scared out of my mind, and I see it walk to the back of the store, and I hear what sounded like a dozen footsteps and someone saying, "You will get Taz," and a man screaming. I hear handcuffs, and the person along with cops walks past me. I stick my hand out crying, and a cop pulls me out and walks me down to the front. Apparently the manager had their sibling, who was with him at work, on drugs, and he tried hiding him in the store, but he kept screaming, and people kept asking what it was, and he couldn't hide him anymore. And the sibling came out and started attacking people. And that's when the cops were called and shots were fired, but missed the man, thankfully. From that day forward, the man, from what I heard, never touched drugs again and was doing a lot better locked up. I also never went to that location for Walmart ever again.
Story 4.
This honestly is not even a story, but a bizarre experience I had at Walmart that is nothing like you've ever heard of before. I remember back in 2015, my kid wanted nothing but some Xbox games for his Xbox. So for his birthday, I was going to surprise him with 3 games. I end up going there when he falls asleep and get the 3 games he wanted. I remember crossing paths with someone who I recognized from high school. He and I chatted, and he was happy to see me and told me he had some kids as well. After we parted ways, I went up to the front to get a water and then leave. I tried to get in the self-checkout line, and the registers said they were closed. So I went into the lines to get checked out, and out of all the lines, not a single one was open. A thought popped into my head. I don't think I've seen a single worker here besides the one who was in the back that gave me the games and checked me out. I go back there, and the dude isn't there either, and not only that, but the whole thing is shut down. I started looking in the store, and no one was there, so without even thinking, I went to leave, and the door was locked. I ran as fast as I could to the back, and just as I was about to go out the emergency exit, I hear a noise. It's chanting, and as I go through there, it's people in black outfits, and they're standing around people who are on the ground. Not just any people, but workers. All the employees are there, and there's one guy who isn't covered with a mask. It's the guy who I knew in high school. He was carrying a big knife. I am guessing he's seen me in the reflection of it, because he looked up at light speed. At that point, I thought I was going to be in that circle next. I ran out and got in that car and left. That was a day I'll never forget for as long as I live. Thank you again for making it to another one of my videos. Please, if you can, like and subscribe.